When I was in probably 8th grade, I was invited to a new church in town. One of my friends asked if I wanted to come to youth group on a Wednesday night, and I said yes. I think that Wednesday night probably changed everything for me. I was doing every camp, every service opportunity, every Wednesday night, every Sunday morning. About 6 months into that, I begged and begged for my parents to start coming there on Sundays. My sister was baptized in the children's ministry within the first 4 months that we were there. I think that was just truly the time in my life where I really started to understand who God was. My youth minister and we had a chat that morning it was a Sunday morning, and we were talking about, here in the next few weeks, we're going to look at baptism. I was just so excited. My parents were so excited. Tuesday that week at school, I remember I was leaving school and I was walking through our lobby, and in the lobby I saw maybe 5 senior girls from my youth group. They were sobbing in the school lobby. I made my way out and I got in the car with my dad. We pulled into his office, and when we got there, he was like, "Hey, before you get out of the car, I just want to talk to you about something really quick." And I don't know, my first thought was "Oh, I'm in trouble." But I could tell it was something pretty serious. I remember he pulled out his phone and he pulled up a news article and showed it to me, and it was a mugshot of my youth minister. That morning, he had been arrested for having sexual conversations and text messages with a 15-year-old girl, specifically in our youth group. It would later come out that he was talking to more than one girl in more than one state. It was kind of the brakes just hit, and everything that I'd been so excited about and looking forward to and been told and taught just kind of hit pause. I didn't understand the magnitude, I think, of what he was telling me at that time. I just felt hurt, and I didn't really understand. Why would this happen? Is this real? This is somebody I trusted. A few days later, we had a 4-hour meeting with our parents and all the girls in our youth group. One mom, they raised her hand and mentioned that a few of the girls had been talking, and they had realized they had all been texting this guy named Matt. Said he was a senior at this other school, and kind of told them all the same thing, but they had all been having these relationships over text with him. I think when she said that, my heart just kind of sunk. You get that sick feeling in your stomach. A few months before all of this came to light, I had gotten a text too. It was from an unknown number. It was from a person who said their name was Matt and they were a senior at this school. He had ended up asking me for photos also, and I luckily had said no. I think for me that at that moment was now this is really, really personal for me. He was going to do that to me too. I left that meeting feeling like I had done something wrong and that I was guilty of something. And I had a conversation with my parents to tell them, I think this has happened to me too. Yeah, I wasn't so excited to go to church anymore. I didn't really feel like it was a safe place for me to be anymore. For me, that was one of the hardest parts, was seeing my family just get so hurt. This was somebody that they trusted too, and so that was really hard. I think I had to have really hard conversations with the Lord that I never thought I would have. Why is this happening? Why would you let this happen? And I think every time I was still met with the fact that he was there and he didn't leave, and that wasn't his intent for what his church should be. A couple of months later, another friend invited me to her church, and that turned out to be probably one of the biggest blessings. It was a youth group that felt like home, and it felt safe again. I carried on through that youth group, and I ended up getting baptized. God used that situation to really show that He is always good, and there's still a place for me in church. I think what I would tell someone who is going through church hurt right now, it would probably be that, first and foremost, I think to say, I'm sorry. I'm truly hurt for people who have experienced hurt and hate from the church in a way that has drawn them further away from Christ. God's design for the church is so much greater than what you're experiencing. I would tell them that they are so loved by God and that people are going to be imperfect. And unfortunately, that leads to very hurtful sin. God is so much greater than that. God will not fail you like people will. And God's design for the church is for us to live in community and love and grace and worship together. I've come out of this knowing, okay, God is good and He has never changed. He will never fail me, even though people will. God had so much more in store for me. I work at a church now. He's giving me the opportunity to be a leader and to show what a real leader in the church should look like. In my job, also, I'm a youth ministry volunteer now too. I want to be a safe place for these kids in a really scary world sometimes. I've seen what God can do with a really broken and a really bad situation, and I've seen how He can redeem that